What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck. Real Cowboys fans, stand up. So y'all know what it is. We are back. It's Monday night, and Monday night on CFO Sports, it's a Jan party. So what does Jan mean, right? It's a great app that allows you, the viewer, to come on the show to talk football with me. And man, Cowboys Nation, we got a lot to talk about. So as y'all see, I got numerous seats available. So click the link that I pinned in the comments to jump on the show, because we got a lot to talk about, because we definitely have to address this NFL draft. But before we get started, y'all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys, because we have officially hit 7,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, man. And that's a thank you to you guys for all your support, for all your likes, all your sharing, all your comments. This community is growing at a rapid pace, and that's a testament to you guys. So we are finally at 7,000, and we're going to continue to climb, man. We're going to continue to climb. My goal, let's set a goal right now. I am going to press to get 10,000 subscribers on this channel before the season starts. And if we make it to 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to take, once again, 2 of my subscribers to the first home Cowboys game with your boy Jay Tuck. We did it last year, had a blast, brought 2 guys out. We tailgated, we partied, we lost to Tampa, right? But if we get to 10,000 subscribers before the kickoff of the season, I'm going to bring y'all to the Cowboys game with me, man. But once again, thank you all for your support. Thank you all for following me throughout this draft season, throughout all the content, throughout all the film study. I definitely appreciate it. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, right? The elephant in the room, right? So I want you guys to let me know in the comments, how are y'all feeling about this Dallas Cowboys draft? It's been all over the place, man. On Twitter, people's been kind of upset. People's been all over when it came to this Dallas Cowboys draft that happened this past weekend here in Kansas City. Now, I'll say this, yesterday I didn't want to rush, right? Just come out the gate and come out with some grades and my analysis. Sometimes I like to sit back and kind of digest things after the draft. As you guys know, it takes a lot of work. And I feel like, honestly, yesterday, y'all, I just slept. Man, I just slept. Salute to my guy Mendoza in the building, right? But I want to kind of take a time to digest and think about what the Cowboys did. Now, before we go, brick by brick, player by player, I want to say this. Was this draft sexy by any means? Absolutely not, right? It wasn't the sexiest draft. It wasn't flashy, right? This draft was very meat and potatoes. It was very meat and potatoes. And I feel like the Dallas Cowboys went and got what they need, right? Because we know the past 2 years, we've really lacked toughness, especially in the playoffs, right? So, I feel like that was kind of the mentality that Mike McCarthy wanted to get tougher. And we saw that with a lot of the draft picks, especially our number 1 draft pick in Mazi Smith. Now, I will say this, even though we got tougher, right, I still feel like we left some meat on the bone. I feel like we left a little meat on the bone, but it's perfectly fine. We're going to address it. But overall, guys, I've been saying this on this channel before we went into the draft. We were in a good situation where we really couldn't fail, right? We really couldn't fail, right? So if you felt like the Cowboys was the NFC East favorites, or the Cowboys was like a 12-5 team or a 13-win team, I feel like you come out the draft feeling the same exact way. I feel like nothing really changed, right? And I think that's the frustration from a lot of Cowboys fans' perspective, was that, hey, the free agency that we had, we really kind of built the lead, right? We kind of built some wiggle room and some distance between us and Philly, and us and the Giants, and us and the Commanders, right? But I feel like the frustration I'm hearing from a lot of Cowboys fans is that we really didn't just keep our pedal to the floor. We kind of let up a little bit. But what I want Cowboys fans to really understand is it's a different regime, man. We have Mike McCarthy at the helm. And if you go back to what Mike McCarthy did traditionally when he was in Green Bay, they never really went sexy, right? They never really went sexy in Green Bay. I mean, that was the whole frustration with Aaron Rodgers. He wanted a wide receiver, right? So they went very meat and potatoes. And I felt like that's what's this draft, right? Go back to what we did last year with Tyler Smith and Sam Williams and Jake Ferguson and Deron Bland. Those wasn't, and Jalen Tolbert, right? Those guys wasn't really household names, right? I mean, a few of you guys were aware because you follow this channel closely of the Sam Williams and Jalen Tolbert, but for the average fan, they wasn't really aware. So I feel like that's kind of the same thing with this draft. Now, let's go to day one. Day one, to be honest with you guys, like, you guys who follow the channel and actually watch the pre-draft show, there was a lot of talk, y'all, about this whole tight end thing, to the point where it's like, I didn't know to buy in, but it was just extremely loud, right? There was a lot of conversation that came. Oops, what the heck did I just do? My bad. I hit the wrong button. My bad. Over here pressing stuff. There was a lot of conversation where it came to, about the Cowboys taking a tight end. And I just didn't feel like the tight end position was a need. Now, can you always upgrade? Yeah, possibly. But it wasn't, I didn't feel like a sense of urgency that after we lost Dalton Schultz, that I felt like we have to go in and address the tight end position, right? So we had Jake Ferguson, we have Hendershot, we also have Sean McKeon. I felt like we were good unless something really presented itself. So, day one, I couldn't really buy into the whole idea of drafting a tight end. I know there was talks about, Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer and, Sam Laporta, and I loved all those prospects, but just thinking from what the Cowboys need, I just didn't see it, right? So as the board was falling, and I'll say this, y'all, the draft was kind of cool. Now, Houston, they kind of tossed a wrinkle out there with trading and getting Will Anderson and CJ Stroud, which is a great move, great pickup, and especially for my wallet because I want a little pocket change based off of those picks, right? So that was a good pickup, right? But I felt like once you had Seattle go Witherspoon, but then you also had the Detroit Lions go Jamari Gibbs early, and then they also went Campbell, like things started spiraling, right? A lot of Cowboys fans, so to my guy Voch Lombardi, we kind of had this idea, this fantasy, right, of getting Will Anderson. Just getting Will Anderson. Not Will Anderson, I'm sorry, Will McDonald, right? That didn't work. Will McDonald went 15, right? So the board started just spinning out of control. So when the Cowboys was on the clock, I was sitting there thinking, okay, we just got jumped for Dalton Kincaid. Are we seriously going to go Michael Mayer? Even though I like Michael Mayer, I just wasn't, it just didn't feel like that was something that we really needed to address. And so I started getting a little nervous because on like the offensive lineman, quote, the Darnell Wrights and some of those guys that we talked about, they were already off the board. So were we going to reach for Steve Avila, or were they going to go with those Cyrus Torrens, or there was Matthew Burrajon that was available? But my concern was there were two guys on the board where I was like, I hope they don't do it, but it could make sense, right? And that was Brian Breesy and that was Miles Murphy, the two defenders out of Clemson. So I started getting a little nervous, y'all, to be honest. If y'all watched my video, I was kind of like, all right, what's really going on? But once the pick went and it was Mazi Smith, I was cool. I was actually relieved because I felt like Mazi Smith, he fixes a huge need that the Dallas Cowboys needed to fix, which is our run defense. When it comes to Mazi Smith, y'all, think of it as that we got an offensive lineman for Micah Parsons. We got an offensive lineman for LVE, right? I feel like he is going to be a guy that's going to demand a double team, that's going to eat up space, and it's going to allow Micah Parsons and our linebackers to flow freely, and that you definitely have to consider because the one thing that Mazi does, and he does a great job at, he gets interior pressure. He gets pressure on the inside. So that's the reason why I'm excited to get Mazi Smith. I think he's going to help our defensive line as a whole, not only just in the run defense game, but also in the pass blitzing game as well. Because with the pass rush, that interior presence definitely helps. So I was perfectly fine when it came to the draft pick in Mazi Smith. I was A-okay with it. I was relieved. I slept good Thursday night. So then then Friday comes around, and you guys know I went out to the NFL draft kind of just as a fan, right? I put on my Cowboys jersey. Day one, I had the suit and tie on. You know, I was doing my media thing. But then like day two, I just wanted to relax and be a fan, right? So I was like, all right, the Cowboys are in a good situation going into day two. So here we were at 58. And if you watch my live stream, I was thinking, okay, right? You didn't get your offensive lineman yesterday. Here's the opportunity to go get your offensive lineman, right? So there was a name of Osiris Torrance, who we broke down film on this channel as well. But there was also some other names. You had linebacker Trenton Simpson that was available. You had Drew Sanders, the White Lion, as I call him, available. So you had some quality guys available. And then when the pick went in for Luke Schoonmaker, I felt numb, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, I felt numb. Like I felt, that was the gut punch, right? If you watch the Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis fight, that was the punch that kind of brought me down to my knees. Because honestly, y'all, I didn't understand it, and even today, I still don't understand it, right? And I know a lot of people say, you know what, Tuck, he's a phenomenal pass blocker. He's a run blocker. He's physical. He's physical, right? Salute to my guy, One-Handed Bandit, man. Appreciate the super chat. I'll get to that here in a second. But I just didn't see the value of going for Luke. Now, here's what I'll say about Luke. Luke is a very athletic tight end, right? Because there was a few. There was Luke, who we drafted, right? And there's also Luke Musgrave, right? But I felt like he's more of a balance. He's like getting Michael Mayer at Aldi's, or like a knockoff brand Michael Mayer. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the real thing, but you know, it's kind of similar, right? But here's my concern when it comes to Luke. And I don't think a lot of people understand it, right? This kid will be 25 years old when the season starts. He's 25 years old, didn't have a lot of production at Michigan. He didn't have a lot of opportunity at Michigan. So he really didn't have, quote unquote, where he was that guy in Michigan's offense. And then two, he's coming off a lot of injuries, y'all. He's had about 3 injuries and on both shoulders. So if you're a blocking tight end, you're an older prospect, and you have 2 bad shoulders already? Second round pick? I don't know. I don't know. And here's the thing. I feel like if you're going to go a second round pick, it needs to, quote unquote, be the guy. There shouldn't be any conversation, well, could it be Ferguson, or could it be Hendershot, or could it be Luke? Like, I feel like he needs to be the guy for the value that you paid for him. That's my one concern. And I feel like when we're doing these shows, we're having the conversations in Oxnard, I just can't say clearly that I feel like Luke is going to beat out Jake Ferguson. I just don't. So I just feel like, I saw someone in the comments, right? We saw the clip today that came and released. There was a conversation of Mike McCarthy and Will McClay. They were going back and forth about Mazi Smith and Matt Burrajon, right? Going offensive tackle, fixing the offensive line, or do you go defensive line? It went back and forth, right? Will McClay won, said Mazi was the pick they put in the card. So you had the opportunity to circle back around and still address the offensive line, and they didn't do it, right? I feel like Osiris Torrance, maybe he might not be an instant plug and play right then and there, but he gives you more depth with the offensive line. Because here is my biggest concern, Cowboys Nation. What we're doing right now, we are putting all of our chips, all of our chips that we currently got on Matt Waletzko and Josh Ball. Once again. And that is why I'm concerned. Is because if Tyron Smith goes down, which you pretty much say you can guarantee that, right? Who's the guard? Is Tyler Smith going to be your guard? But then you're going to put Matt Waletzko, who's pretty much a first-year player at left tackle. you know. Then you're gonna put Josh Ball at left guard, they talked about. So I just feel like I wanted to get offensive line depth. Now I feel like people are saying Torrance and different things like that. He's slow and different this like this. I don't know. I see some confidence in Chuma. I don't have no confidence in Chuma. I don't have no confidence in Josh Ball, right? So I feel like they really should have addressed it. Yeah, and the big Sarge, like you said, move Tyler Smith to guard. Okay, if you move Tyler Smith to left guard, who's your left tackle? Like who becomes your left tackle? Do you guys feel comfortable if we had to go out there with Matt Let's go as left tackle? I don't know. That's a huge question mark. So I would like to address it, right? I would like to address it. You had, Matt Farniok. So there's some unproven guys. So I would like the Cowboys to really address the offensive line at that second spot. And then maybe in the third round, you could have circled back around and got your tight end, but they didn't do it, right? So how do I see the Cowboys utilizing Luke? I feel like they're going to utilize him in a lot of different ways, right? They're going to utilize him in a lot of different ways, and I feel like they're going to get him involved. Now, if he's healthy, right, he checks all the boxes. He checks all the boxes if he's healthy. But like I said, y'all, I just don't see a huge separation from Jake Ferguson and Luke Schoonmaker. I just don't see it. It might be this, flavors of ice cream, but when you go back and you watch the Mike McCarthy Day 2 interview, it sounds like, y'all, Mike McCarthy just isn't sold on Jake Ferguson and Hendershot like we are. You know what I'm saying? So, that's where I came to. He said that he wanted competition. He wanted to make it an open competition, and that was a Mike McCarthy pick. So we'll have to see how it all sorts out. But y'all, I just don't see Jake Ferguson going out like that. I just don't see. But we'll be interested. My guy says, if the guard is the only issue, we are good. I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know about that, right? Because the same reason why we drafted Mazi was to get interior pressure. If we're allowing teams to get interior pressure, that changes a lot. It changes a lot, right? So the last thing I want to do is play musical chairs once again with our offensive line. We've been doing it a lot, right? So I wanted to get a solid core. We didn't do it. Now I see someone talking about Richards. We'll get to him in a second because I love that pick, right? But he's going to be more of a progression guy. Once again, y'all, this is a Monday night jam party. So all you have to do is click that link that I pinned above, and it will allow you to come on the show and talk Cowboys football and talk this draft alongside with me. So definitely click that link. Yeah, like my guy Mo says, like we can't be doing that every year, rotating and moving guys around, and possibly we're gonna put Tyler Smith at left tackle, then put Tyron at right tackle, and then we're gonna put Terrence Steele at left guard. And if that breaks down, we'll kick Terrence Steele back to right. Like, it's just too much movement. You want consistency with your offensive line, and I feel like we have to start building that second foundation, that second layer, because injuries are pretty much bound to happen. I feel like the past 2 seasons, the one thing that has really ailed the Cowboys is injuries with the offensive line. So I just feel like we just have the solid depth, right? Even last year, I feel like everything with our offensive line was perfectly fine, even though we did lose Tyron early. Once Terrence Steele went down, all hell broke loose. And so those are the things I'm trying to avoid. Yeah, so Kevin says, doesn't the West Coast offense allow Dak to get the ball out quicker? It should, right? It should, right? But it's not all going to be 3-step drops and quick throws, right? There's going to be times he's going to need to drop back, 7-step drops. He's going to be in shotgun a little bit and to develop. So, but also not just from the standpoint of the passing game, but also the run game as well. So, the West Coast is really designed to kind of get things on the edges, a lot of zone schemes, little different things. So we're going to break every nook and cranny of that offense down here in this offseason so you guys can see it. But, you're definitely going to need some protection in the interior, because this is what I also been saying, y'all. I love that we have Tony Pollard. I love the pick in Deuce Vaughn, which we'll talk about here in a second. But who is going to be your running back that's going to pick up blitzes and edges and coming off like Ezekiel Elliott used to do, right? So that's the one thing, man. So we'll definitely have to consider it. Let me get to that super chat. My bad, bro. Let me see here. Can't wait to see Deuce take a big one to the crib. You think Jerry will let Deuce wear 22? Nah, he's not gonna let Deuce wear 22, bro. That's Emmett, man. But like, I love Deuce Vaughn, y'all. I tweeted back in when I was covering the Big 12 championship game. I was like, Deuce Vaughn is doing his best Tony Pollard impression. It was a great moment. But here's what I'll say about Deuce Vaughn, y'all. Don't let the feel-good story of his dad being a scout and we saw the emotions and everything fool you. Deuce Vaughn is a hell of a player, and we got to steal. You know, I think sometimes, right as of right now, you know, the story and the feel-good story, which was a great story, right, is kind of overshadowing. The Dallas Cowboys got a hell of a talent in Deuce Vaughn. Like, you guys know I covered the Big 12. I watched this kid closely, live and in person numerous times. He can just really take over a game. And he also gives us that safety blanket in case something is delayed with Tony Pollard. So I definitely love that pickup. Now, let's go to the third pick in Demarvion Overshawn, right? Demarvion Overshawn out of the University of Texas, linebacker. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, right? You guys know I love some nasty, fast, hardcore linebacker play. Now, he is a smaller linebacker. He's going to be your weak side linebacker, but I feel like what the Dallas Cowboys really needed in the linebacker room is just more speed. And he's going to be more of your hybrid, right? So you might see him playing, quote unquote, what's called the Joker role that you see J-Ron Kurtz. Now, I'm not sure if him and J-Ron has had a conversation about that number 0. I doubt that, you know, J-Ron's going to give that up. But you're going to see Overshawn play a little hybrid safety, but also linebacker. He's going to be your coverage guy. Now, he's a lighter linebacker, but man, this kid be flying. He be flying. He be flying, man. And I just feel like from the Cowboys linebackers perspective, you know, when it comes to depth, we need to get faster, right? I love LVE, but he ain't the fastest, right? We had what's his name? Who was the from the Vikings? Anthony Barr, right? Had Anthony Barr, just wasn't up to speed, right? So I feel like Overshawn is going to give us what we wanted in Jabril Cox, but I feel like he's a lot more cranked up than Jabril Cox is. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how the Cowboys handle Jabril Cox moving forward, because you got a guy in there that can pretty much do the same thing at a much higher rate. What is that really going to mean? So I definitely like Overshawn. But then also they said he can contribute to special teams as well. So he's probably going to do some special teams contribution, but I definitely like that pick. But how are you guys feeling about the first 3 picks? Are you guys mad on it? Are you good? Let me know what's your thoughts. So Troy Dudley says Schoonmaker's Raz blows Ferguson away. Here's what I want to tell y'all. Listen loud and clear. Those Raz scores are beautiful. They're very colorful. They catch your eye, right? You look at them like, oh, look at the pretty colors. It's green, it's yellow, and red, and it's like a fruity rainbow, like a box of Lucky Charms. Throw them things in the trash, fam. Throw them things in the trash, fam, because I posted on Twitter, you know whose Raz score was extremely high? Jalen Tolbert's Raz score blows CeeDee Lamb out the water. Blows it out the gate. It was crazy, right? Jalen Tolbert's Raz score blew CeeDee Lamb out the water. Don't nobody in this chat tell me that y'all feel like Jalen Tolbert's a better talent than CeeDee Lamb. Right. Use some of these things when it comes to draft season as supplements, right? Don't just base your opinion on a Raz score, right? Don't just base your opinion just strictly off the combine, right? The film's pretty much going to tell you everything you really know, but that takes a lot of work, right? But you want to supplement these different things to get your overall analysis when it comes to a player. If you just looked at the Raz score, you can be all over. Let's see here. Trying to get into the Jan app, but it keeps freezing with the Jan logo. Let me see here. Let me see. Is the invite not working? I think they changed something up on me. Where's the invite thing? Hold on. Let me see. They must have moved it. Invite. Hold on. Here we go. Let's do this. Here. Let's try that one. Try that link and see if that'll let you jump in. So cool. But yeah, like I said, overall, the first 3 picks, the tight end thing, it kind of hit me, right? It was a low blow, but I feel like it wasn't draft breaking, right? I feel like it didn't break the draft. It was just a question of like, was it really a need, right? And I gave this analogy on Twitter, right? You know, salute to my wife. She's out right now, but so I can say this because she's not at the house. So I won't be in the doghouse, right? But it's like, if my wife went out and bought some $700 shoes, right? And I look at the shoes and I'm just like, them shoes look very similar like the other 4 pair of shoes that you got. And if you would have looked on this website, you could have got the same pair of shoes for $300. You're going to be upset. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be upset. So it's just like, I feel like that's when it comes to the tight end position. It's just like, you know, I feel like, okay, you paid a 2nd round price for this tight end. Is it really that different, night and day difference from what we already have? No. You know, so you have the right to question it. Schoonmaker wasn't given much of an opportunity at Michigan as a pass catcher. Yeah, I agree. He wasn't involved as much as a pass catcher. So, you know, to say like, can he really be the guy? Now, for me, if I am drafting a tight end in the 2nd round, I'm expecting him to be the guy, not a rotational guy, right? I feel like he should be your tight end 1 out the gate, but I just don't see that happening. The RAS score also includes all the numbers from the combine. Yeah, that's what it's based off. It's based off all the measurements. So if I run a 4.4, but actually I'm 6'5", then that helps my RAS score based off my arm length. It really has nothing to do with football, right? It's more of his created player stats, where it's like your length, your arm size, your hand size, anything. It's nothing with the production. There's actually another score calculation. I think it's called the MAS score, MAS. If you guys look that up, that's based off production value versus what you actually do on the field. The RAS score is just based off of measurements and numbers and what you do at the combine. So, anyone know if the Cowboys will be in Oxnard this year? Yeah, they'll be in Oxnard. They already started the countdown to Oxnard. I think it's like 88 days or something like that. I saw the calculation. So they're definitely going to be in Oxnard. They come to Oxnard every year for camp. Let's see here. Schoonmaker is a better blocker than Ferguson and Hendershot, right? So, I mean, let me know in the chat, y'all. I'm going to ask y'all a question, right? You know, trivia time. Who are the top 5 best blocking tight ends in the NFL? List them. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Says Jeff Kavanaugh talked about athletic scores for tight ends. Guys like George Kittle had 9.8 relative score. That's identical to Luke athletic. So like I said, so based on the RAS scores, y'all are telling me y'all feel like Jalen Tolbert is better than CeeDee Lamb. Would any of you guys, let me know in the chat, would any of you guys draft Jalen Tolbert over CeeDee Lamb? Actually, would any of you guys draft Kelvin Joseph over Trayvon Diggs? Like, the RAS score has nothing to do with being a football player. It has absolutely zero. It has zero to do with anything. It's just based off of your numbers, y'all. Like, and that's why I keep trying to say, use it as a supplement, but you're not going to just go in and say, you know what, this guy's RAS score is higher, and I'm going to pick him. Like, that makes no sense, right? So the RAS scores are just, they're extremely irrelevant, right? Like you said, yeah. Nobody's going to pick, nobody's going to look like I think Jalen Tolbert's RAS score, we can look it up, was like a 9.8. And I think that CeeDee Lamb's like a 7 something or like something like that. It was like drastically higher than CeeDee Lamb. Nobody's, and I love Jalen Tolbert. Ain't nobody taking Jalen Tolbert over CeeDee Lamb. So let's see here. I never seen Tolbert play much, but either way, no. Yeah. Trust me, I scouted Jalen Tolbert. I did a whole film session. I was kind of coined as the guy who found Jalen Tolbert. He ain't that. He ain't that. So, like I said, use those things as a supplement. Let me see here. Whatever team has the best athletes normally have the advantage. Physical, non-physical, it doesn't matter. Tyreek Hill isn't a physical but the teams always have an advantage. I mean, sometimes with speed, absolutely, we got to utilize it right? We've seen a lot of fast players who struggle in the NFL. Speed doesn't always equal production, right? Because think about it. I was talking about this in pre-draft. CeeDee Lamb ran a 4.7 at the combine, right? Like DeAndre Hopkins, like it does. There's difference between being a gamer versus putting on underwear in the underwear Olympics and having a good day. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? So does the speed translate on film and on game day? That's what I care about. You can have the best day of your life at the combine. You can have the right juice. And for you guys who follow me on Twitter, y'all know I bought some of those No Bull shoes. Those No Bull shoes feel like I'm running on feathers, y'all. They feel like Sonic the Hedgehog shoes, right? So I'm much faster in those shoes because they're extremely light. If I had to put on cleats, pads, beat a jam, beat a press, completely different, right? Completely different. So, yeah, you can be the best athlete in the world, but if you can't process things quickly, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, there's IQ. There's a lot of things that goes into play of being a prospect. Let's see here. Yeah, it skewed people's minds on who's actually good at football. Yeah, and y'all know me. Like I said, I'm not. Y'all know I love Jeff. Jeff's my brother. I talk to Jeff almost every day, right? But everyone has a different process. For me, I'm a film guy. I'd rather just crunch the film, do the dirty work, film it out, and make my decision and analysis from the film versus just a graphic based off of his measurements to be like, he's better. That's just me. That's just my preference, right? It's tomato, right? But for me, that's what traditionally works for me. If I don't see a 4.4 or 4.3 speed on game day, I don't care what you do in the combine. Because it really doesn't have that same impact. Let's see here. Now, so as far as the first 3 picks, right, just like the Wonderlic test, right? So, what is the new test that came out that CJ Stroud passed or didn't pass, the S2 or SQ, whatever that is, right? You see how they made a big deal about CJ Stroud and this quiz and everything. What happened? The Texans definitely went and picked him with the number 2 pick, right? The S2 pick, right? Yeah. All this fuss about CJ Stroud, and when I was interviewing CJ Stroud when he was here in Kansas City, every media member was like, what's your thoughts on this and what happened and this and this and this and that. I'm like, y'all didn't see this man play against Georgia? You know what I'm saying? Why are we talking about a quiz, right? Not a lot of people are test takers. Some people have bad days. It just is what it is. Let's see here. You can't compare wide receivers to tight ends when talking about RAS scores. The point was all the best tight ends had high RAS scores. On the final word, it was said Luke isn't athletic because he ran a 4.6. My point was he is. I never said he wasn't athletic. He's extremely athletic. I'm not saying I wasn't on that show. I didn't say he's athletic. I missed the tight end final word show. I wasn't on that one. Seemed like it's meant to be equal to MLB, sabermetrics analytics instead of the actual field production. Yeah, that's how I am. Mel Kiper and TDN get the Cowboys a B+ draft. Now I'm worried. You gotta be a little skeptical whenever Mel is in favor of what you did, right? Salute to Mel Kiper. But overall, y'all, we'll talk about Viliami Fehoko and some of the other people, but it's just like, originally I had the Cowboys at a C+, right? That was my emotional out the gate C+, right? But when you toss on the undrafted free agents, ooh-wee, I got a banger for y'all tomorrow on Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely was a guy, or not Isaiah Likely, Isaiah Land, out of FAMU, linebacker. Y'all gonna love him. Y'all gonna love this kid. Isaiah Land out of FAMU. We got us one, y'all. Also, Darrell Johnson out of Liberty. I told a lot of people, listen, this kid out of Liberty, Darrell Johnson, you guys need to watch. I mean, I ain't watching no Liberty. Now, Darrell Johnson's RAS score might not be pretty, y'all. It might not be pretty. I didn't look up Darrell Johnson's, I didn't look up his RAS score, right? But when I tell you this guy is a gamer, he's a gamer. He's a gamer. So the Cowboys got 2 solid, good undrafted free agents. We got Hunter Lipke, the fullback. I know a lot of people are kind of high on fullbacks. Let's see here. It still said it won't respond. That's crazy. I don't know. Let's see. Let me see if I can get a different link. 1 second here, man. Sorry about that. That must be why no one's joining in. Let's see here. See if I can text the tech team. Yeah, there's also a guy who I scouted a lot here at the University of Kansas that we picked up, offensive tackle Eric Bostock. He played for the University of Kansas. He's very athletic. Look at his RAS score. His RAS score is very colorful, right? Great project guy who I feel is going to be able to contribute and get in the rotation as well. So I feel like the undrafted free agents, yeah, Jalen Monroe, Cropper, like we got a lot of talent and value in the undrafted free agent market. And people got to forget that's where the Cowboys really make their money. They make their money. I mean, Terrence Steele was undrafted, right? You saw what we did last year in Kevontae Turpin. Hendershot was undrafted, right? So we get a lot of guys. Marquise Bell, who was a guy I was high on last year, was an undrafted free agent. So, you get a lot of guys. Like, there's a lot of talent with this undrafted free agent. So that's why I'm boosting the Cowboys draft overall. So overall, yo, I got at a B minus. I get a B minus. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat you guys and just be like everything's an A plus and everything's roses. That's not what we do here. But I feel like overall, y'all, we got what we need. We got what we need. We walked into the grocery store, we got what we need, and we got up out of there. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, I go grocery shopping if I need chicken breast, steak, broccoli, potatoes, whatever, rice. I go get those 5 things and I get up out of there. If I send my wife grocery shopping, she come up with a whole cart full of just random stuff that she saw, and you know what I'm saying, and coming back. Like, I feel like that's kind of how the Cowboys drafted. They knew what they wanted, they went in, they got it, and got up out of there, man. Yeah, my guy Travis Banks, yeah, we both hit on Darrell Johnson. Yeah, bro, I tried to tell him about Darrell Johnson. Nobody wanted to listen to us. I was like, listen, go watch this kid. Not sure the RAS score, but man, this kid is sexy, bro. It's sexy. He is going to be a guy, him and Isaiah Land. They're going to be some guys they're going to be talking about in Oxnard. Like, I like him. 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 And I feel like he's going to be extreme talented. Now, here's the thing. Eric Scott, when we trade up for him, honestly, that was the one guy I didn't have on my radar. I have no idea where his name was called. I was concerned because when I was doing the live show, I was like, okay, well, let me look it up. And I saw a 4.7. So for those who don't know, he ran in his pro day, but he pulled his quad. So I think that, the attraction with him is he's more like a 4.3, 4.4 guy. He was injured when he ran his 40. But just a very athletic project guy that the Cowboys saw value in. So here's my question, and I'll ask you guys, and someone just put in the chat, April just put in the chat, like, special teams going to be a fight this year. You got Bland, you got Diggs, right? You got Stephon Gilmore. You still have Jordan Lewis, right? You just traded up to go get another corner, so that's 5. You still have Kelvin Joseph, right? You have Nashawn Wright, right? And then, quote unquote, you got to keep, your special teams guys. So I feel like there's a chance that Nashawn and Kelvin might get the axe, y'all. I feel like he might get the axe. Yeah, he might get the axe. So, it's going to be interesting. We got to see, because they're going to trade up for a guy. He's going to be on the roster. They're not going to trade up for a guy and not have him on. Let's see here. let me try this link here. 1 second here. Let's see if this one works. All right, so I just posted this link. Let me know if that link works for you guys to jump on. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of competition with the corner in the secondary, so not everyone's going to make the cut, but we'll see. We'll definitely see, but it's definitely going to be a fun time. There's going to be a lot of interesting battles. I mean, even the battles that I'm looking at is tight end. That's going to be my number one battle, right? I can't wait to see Ferg +1, Luke +2, Hendershot plus, like that. That's how we're going to track it, right? But then also in the cornerback position. So I saw someone posted, let me see where it goes. My problem with Scott, the Scott pick, is simply trading up for him. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have a problem with trading up for him, but my problem is that's when you choose to get aggressive, Cowboys. Like that was the guy you finally want to get aggressive and move up for. Like you normally don't get that aggressive in the draft, but that was the one you say, you know what, we gotta move up and gotta go get, just like So, it is what it is. But like I felt like the Cowboys got their guy, and here's what I'll say, y'all. I've always been a proponent of, if you have a guy that you like, don't play around with your food. Just go get him. Just go get him, right? And so, go get him. So we'll see what happens with him. Like I said, I don't know too much about him. The film I had looks like it was like Nintendo 64. You know what I'm saying? It was very Nintendo 64-ish. So let's see here. I think we finally got my guy in. Let's see here. Oops. Hold on. Actually, no. They didn't change things up on me. I need to figure out how to work all this. Let's see here. Here we go. There we go. There's my guy, Mike, man.
There we go.
Hey, man. Sorry about that, man.
Yeah. No, they reset everything, so I had to reset the whole mechanism so I can get on.
I got you, man. Yeah,
that's why I wouldn't respond.
I got you. Yeah, they're doing some updates with the app, because like I said, they got some new buttons I ain't even clicked on yet, man. So yeah, man, my guy, how you feeling? You're about 40 hours from the Cowboys draft. How you feeling as of right now?
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Right.
I liked the players. I just didn't love how they did the draft at one point. Mm-hmm. I do love that they went heavy on defense. Because you win in the trenches.
Right.
I agree on that. It wasn't big names.
Right.
That's why I just didn't understand their motto. Mm-hmm. I do trust, Jerry and all that, because they never let us down in the first place.
Right.
When they done drafts. Mm-hmm. Because we only had maybe a few duds, since they've done drafts.
Right.
Like Taco and whatnot. So
right.
So the only thing I can say, a lot of things are unproven right now.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll have to just sit back and say, I have to trust them right now, and then see what it is in training camp and preseason and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I did not. I'm not saying I disliked the player. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like the on our second round pick.
Yeah.
The tight end.
Yeah.
That's I hate that. I'm not saying that he can't be great. I don't understand, but he's unproven.
Right.
On and I hate that. I don't like stats, but it just, when you look at the stats on him, there's a lot of imperfections on what he's got to play with.
Right. And I agree. And that was the thing, like, there was too many question marks when it came to Luke, right? Unproven, right? Injury history. And like I said, he's 25 years old. So it's just like, it's hard to get excited about it when you kind of know what the red flags are. Like if it would have been, let's say for instance, it wasn't him and it was Michael Mayer, I was like, okay, cool. We have a young prospect who showed a lot of promise, a lot of upside. He really has, the potential to be great. I get it. I would understand it. So that's why I've been saying about this whole tight end situation was like, I wasn't beating the desk crazy about it, but I would understand it. But then when you took an older prospect with injury history that's unproven, it felt like more of a project versus a guy that's really ready. And I felt like there was a lot of prospects that were kind of there that would probably be day one ready. But like I said, he's going to get an opportunity. But whenever I see neck injuries, shoulder injuries,
tend to go after people that's hurt though.
Yeah, and that's why I say
we tend to gamble on that.
Right. And that's what I was telling people.
To me, if you want to gamble on something like that, you still had Darnell Washington,
right?
And he was injured,
right?
So if you want to do that, and I have more respect on them trying to gamble with that because he has more upside potential than Luke did.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I was saying because a lot of people were like, Tuck, we couldn't take Washington because of the knee. I was like, I would rather kind of gamble with a knee versus two shoulders. Like shoulders in football, neck in football, those things.
And a quad.
Yeah, and a quad, And that happened in the Fiesta Bowl, I think. So that was a recent injury. So it's just like there's been a lot, quad, shoulders, 25, lacquer product. It was just like, it was a roll of the dice, right? But like I say this, even though that was a gut punch, I feel like the Cowboys did recover with the Overshawn pick, and then also the Richards, the kid, the tackle out of North Carolina. Now, Viliami Fehoko, that was a player, if you guys follow this channel closely, I kept telling y'all they like him. Like, they like him, right? He was a visit. They kept talking about him. He kind of fits everything they want to do. Now, I think that when it came to Fehoko, if you looked at him as a edge rusher, he's not as sexy, right? But I want you guys to envision him as another interior guy, defensive tackle. Then it kind of changes a little bit your approach, how you view him. But if you look at him as an edge rusher, it's just not there, right? Because a lot of people are like, Tuck, why do we take another defensive end when we already got so many? Don't think of him as a defensive end. Think of him as more like a Chauncey Golston, a guy who can play defensive end, he can stand up, do a little bit different things, but primarily his responsibility will be in the inside once he puts on some weight. Yeah, so like I said,
and I heard he can drop back in coverage too.
Yeah, he can move.
I haven't watched a lot of film on him. I've been watching the running back, the Deuce Vaughn. I've been watching a little bit of his film. I haven't watched a lot of film on the rest of them because I just ain't really heard of them as much. But yeah, I haven't. I'd be lying if I heard, if I said I did, but I just so I can't really say too much about the other guys. So
yeah, I dropped some Fehoko film quickly for y'all, just cut it up real quick. And the crazy thing, I had Deuce Vaughn's film cut up. I looked today, it's already cut and chopped. I just never uploaded it because I was just forgot about it. So, but yeah,
that dude, he can hip and hop. I was watching a lot of film on him. I like it just. He's one place and then he's at another. I'm like, man, that dude is fast.
Yeah, he definitely gets ghosts. And the one thing I like about him is that,
I just hope he can do it on the field now. Because I know college is different than being on the NFL field. So I just hope he can do some of that on the actual field. Because I know he's only 5'5". So
right, yeah. But sometimes, like you said, you need a little gnat that can kind of just get ghosts. And that's what him, and he definitely can involve in the pass game. So, Jerry had mentioned that, Schottenheimer kind of worked with Darren Sproles. So it's going to be kind of Darren Sproles-ish. And if you go back to my original video, y'all, when I broke down the West Coast offense of Mike McCarthy, it's going to be some quick throws of getting players out in space. And Deuce is definitely a guy. If you get him out in space and let him create and use his God-given ability, he can definitely take it to the house. So now you have two quote-unquote guys back there, and you also have Tony Pollard and also Deuce. But I mean, a hell of a third one could be, Vontae Turpin. But we'll see what that really means for Turpin moving forward. But I really think that the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy specifically in this offense is going to utilize Deuce. Because it's funny, I had a tweet and I said, Deuce Vaughn would be great in a Cowboys uniform. He would be the perfect weapon for Kellen Moore to not know how to utilize, right? But Kellen's gone. You know what I'm saying? Kellen's gone, right?
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah. So my guy Greg,
glad on that one.
So my guy Craig just asked a good question. Where is our big running back? So let me toss this over to you, Mike. Do you think that the Cowboys are set in the running back room, or do you think it leaves an opportunity for a reunion with a certain big punishing running back that we let go a few months ago?
I would love to get him back, but I know, the money issue or whatever, because what is it, June? Is it in June, the money situation?
Yeah, June 1st.
So because I wouldn't mind trying to do, probably about $3 million, signing back on there.
Right.
Because that short yardage, getting them 12 touchdowns, you can't get that, and everything else is unproven on if TP is actually going to be the same, the way he was, after the injury, because we went through that with Michael Gallup, so we just don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be against it if we did.
Right.
But I know how Mike McCarthy normally does. Because most of his running backs, when he was in Green Bay, he didn't utilize them as much.
Right.
He only utilized them enough to open up the pass.
Right.
And that's when he passed.
Right.
Because I think their highest running back was, I think it only did 500.
Right. Yeah, and he mentioned
per season.
Yeah, he mentioned when he talked about Deuce Vaughn, he mentioned like Randall Cobb. He was like, we had Randall Cobb and some of those types of players. So, that's going to be interesting. Like that, and that's the huge question mark, y'all. We don't know what this Mike McCarthy offense is going to look like. Is it going to be very Green Bay-ish, or is it going to be different? So that's something we're definitely going to look into on this channel. Is like we're going to really break down and say, okay, because like I said, in Mike McCarthy's offense in Green Bay, he didn't use a lot of 11 personnel, which is one tight end. So it's like this whole idea that people are like, oh, we're going to use 14 personnel and use all tight ends, or 13 personnel. I'm like, it'll be something new for Mike McCarthy, because that's not what he did. He used a lot of 11 and used a lot of 10. He actually did the most in like the NFL when he was in Green Bay. Like he really didn't use a lot of 2 tight end sets. So, it's going to be interesting to see how his philosophy has changed from Green Bay to now. I feel like Schottenheimer is going to come in and kind of modernize it a little bit. But the imprint will kind of stay the same. So like you said, he really doesn't run the ball. He gets his players in space and let them create. So that's going to be fun. So another question was asked, who would be your wide receiver 4? So we have Michael Gallup, we have Cooks, and we have CeeDee Lamb. We all know who that is, right? But who would you feel like is your wide receiver 4? Do you think it's going to be Tolbert? Does Simi finally step up and emerge? Or do we have kind of a long shot with one of these younger guys that we mentioned, whether it's, our 7th round draft pick or some of these undrafted guys that might step in and take that void?
Yeah, Brooks, I don't know. I haven't seen enough on his film saying he is legit. I would say right now, you would say it was Tolbert,
right?
Because of what you're seeing, him doing more practice with, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought.
With Dak,
Dak Prescott, because he's actually shown in that he's trying to be more physical and trying to get out there,
right?
And I hope it shows on the field.
Yeah, and I'll say this, y'all. Like y'all know, like I said, last year I was one of the first to kind of scout Tolbert, right? Jalen Tolbert, and it's all there. Like I just don't know what happened this year to the point he wasn't even active. But Jalen Tolbert even said itself, like he wasn't prepared for all the thinking, right? Like it was a lot of thinking. There was a lot of digesting when it came to understanding the NFL offense. I feel like Mike McCarthy's going to simplify things in this West Coast offense, where it's going to be based off of just concepts versus those option routes. So he's not going to have to think as much, right? So he'll be able to just kind of go out there and use his God-given ability and let it all kind of flush out. So, that's going to be something I'm interested to see is, what happens to Tolbert, in this new offense. But I feel like once he gets the opportunity, he's definitely going to emerge. So let's do this here. 1 second here.
And I believe that's the reason why, he's getting, more of the running backs. He's got better hands. And then I think Tolbert is going to be more utilized because of his hands.
Right.
And I think that's the reason why he went with Luke, because I know Luke is, he does have the tallness, and then you'll be able to get in there, so he can, grab.
Facts. So let me go ahead and get to my guy Keystone in the building.
Backdraft, brother.
Yeah, maybe go. Probably because he thinks he's riding, right? Yo, Keystone, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good, man. What's going on with you?
Everything's good, Jay Tuck. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your page and on your show. And a second, please excuse me because I'm in my car.
Yeah, you're good, man. Looks like you're cutting in and out though. Your signal's cut. Yeah, looks like your signal's cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah, that's because I'm driving.
Okay. Yeah.
It is cutting in out because I'm driving. Excuse me though.
You're good. We appreciate it, man. Like I said, this is what this platform is for anyone to come on here and jump on. It's so funny, man. I have so many people like, yo, Tuck, let me on the show. Well, here's the seat. I got the seats. Pull up a seat and let's have some fun, man. So let me get to you, man. How are you feeling about this draft and what's your thoughts on everything?
First and foremost, I'm kind of iffy about the draft because I was live on the Final Word with Dallas Cowboys. That's my brother. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
And I was also with Law Nation. And it got to the point where we had to laugh it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with the Mazi pick. But when I seen us pick Schoonmaker at 58, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just sitting here like, and here it is. The pick after.
I think everybody's got that idea.
Yeah. Exactly. And after the pick, they turn around and they pick up Osiris Torn.
Right.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, we ain't got no left guard, and we haven't had that in the last 6 years. So I'm like, what is going on, Dallas?
Right. Yeah.
But as far as the other picks go, I'm liking the Overshawn pick. I understand why he was picked up. He's used for downhill purposes that'll help put more pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
And I like that. And plus, on top of that, that was Quinn's guy anyway.
Right.
So it don't surprise me we picked him up in the 3rd. And in the 4th, we got the Fehoko kid, San Jose State. And that kid was nasty in the Mountain West. Man, we got a tackling machine. His whole career, he had like about 46 to 47 tackles for loss.
Right.
So we know he's a tackler. And as much as we always talk about, we got people on the defensive end that can't get tackles for loss.
Right.
We got opportunity. We picked up one now. So let's see how it pans out with him. Now, as far as the Eric Scott kid go, now I know for a fact that word is he's supposed to be used in special teams. He's supposed to be the next CJ Godwin.
Okay.
I don't know. But hey, we'll see how that pans out to be. But there was some Mauler guards that we could have picked.
Right.
We missed out on Nick Broker out of Mississippi. That was kind of like one of those underrated guys I like. But one of my guys got taken, and that was Nick Saldivari out of Old Dominion.
Right.
And I was a big fan of him because he can not only he has great.
Looks like we lost you. Looks like we lost you again.
Technique is underrated, and on him was his versatility. Yeah. Oh, do you hear me now?
Yeah, you're cutting back in. Yeah. So I agree, man, and I think that's the hard part, right? Because the Overshawn pick was a good pick. I think a lot of us was just still on bended knee after the tight end. Yeah, so I think so. Yeah, man. Like I said, overall, I'm not too pressed about the draft, y'all. We were in a good situation where we could really not lose. It just wasn't pedal to the floor, foot on their neck type of draft. It was just like, okay, I understand, I'm good, right? But I feel like once we look up, there's going to be a lot of these names, especially as depth pieces, that's going to be in the mix of things. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, the linebacker room, the tight end room, and also the corners. Yeah. Those are kind of 3 areas I'm really looking at, but also the rotation on the defensive line, because what does this mean for Neville Gallimore? I mean, we got more in the trenches right now. Does Neville Gallimore stick? What does that mean for Big Bohanna? Like, does Bohanna get the stick?
He's
like,
in the hot seat.
Yeah, so there's going to be some hot seats right now as far as who's going to stick, because they got some guys that they can rotate in and out. So, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. So, Mike, I'm going to pass over to you before I go to Keystone, before we get up out of here. Mike, if you had to grade this draft, what would your grade?
To be honest, I would right now I'll say maybe a C+ to a C-.
C+ to C-.
It's just unproven. I say 3. Yeah, I would give it in that frame. Mm. I know a lot of people say it'd be an F, but I think we did have at least 3 of them. We know that they can do some good on this team.
Facts. And Keystone, my guy, what would be your final grade?
I'm giving it a C+.
Yeah.
But after the UDFAs, I'm moving up to a B+.
Yeah.
Because I was loving that list.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, we both hit not only on Darrell Johnson, but we also hit on Isaiah Lamb.
Right.
Them 2 right there, that's your rotational 4-3 strong and will.
Right.
And that's a big need, and I always talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
The 4-3 strong and the will is a need. You got to get that in rotation.
Right.
And it's a wide receiver, Jalen Moreno Cropper, out of Fresno State.
Yeah.
That was Jay Hayner's go-to guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that kid. His skills and his hands is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, he's a pretty good route runner. He got some speed with it.
Yeah. Facts. Like I said, I'm with you. Like I was at a C+.
To see what they're going to do in preseason.
Right. Yeah, and I was at a C+ too until the UDFAs came in. And it's crazy. The undrafteds came in, and I got more excited. I was on Twitter going like, "Oh, we got him!" You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, man,
I was too.
I was like, "Okay, now this is what I'm talking about, right?" So. And I'm going to get you guys some film on the undrafted guys. I took a break from film, to be honest with you. I needed a break, recalibrate. But, this week I'm going to get you some film on the undrafted guys, because I feel like the Cowboys really went out there.
That's understandable. You human, fam.
Yeah. I needed a break. I tell you guys, man, I slept all day yesterday. I just slept. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched some basketball. I slept. Woke up, went to dinner with my family, went back to sleep, man. I feel good, but I've done the work, but we're going to get right back to it. So, I appreciate everyone. Listen, once again, y'all, thank you. We got to 7,000 subscribers. We're continuing to climb. And the good thing about the draft content, man, we got a lot of NFL fans seeing what we do in the Cowboys community. We got new Vikings subscribers. We got new Bears and Jets and all sorts of people coming to see what we really do in this community, because not a lot of teams, I tell you, y'all spoiled, Cowboys Nation. Y'all can come on YouTube right now. It's probably 9 of us going live talking about the draft. Not a lot of teams really get this. So, I love that we're like putting exposure to what we do. So a lot of people are watching film on Israel Banacando, like, okay, what did we get? Or Javon Dexter, like, what did we get? Or Ivan Pace, and these types of players. So, it really is a testament to the work that we do here. So thank y'all again. We're at 7,000. Continue to climb, continue to like, continue to share. It costs you guys nothing, but it definitely spreads the word. But I definitely appreciate you guys, man, like I said, for giving me the platform. And I had a great time at the NFL draft. Next year, it's in Detroit, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to Detroit, to be honest with you. But it's like, you know what? I appreciate you guys for giving me the platform, for believing in me, embracing me all draft season. You guys, I can't thank you guys enough. So we're climbing to 10,000. Let's get to that 10,000 before kickoff in September. And I'm going to take 2 of y'all to a Cowboys game with me. Y'all can do it Tuck style. So follow me on all social media platforms at JTuck151. Click the YouTube channel, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you do not miss out. Like I said, we got a lot more film sessions, a lot more live shows coming out, so you definitely don't want to miss out. And we're here. It's Cowboys content from here on out. It gets easy now, right? It gets easy now, Mike. It's just Cowboys. We're going to have rookie camp, OTAs, and then you get to camp, Oxnard, and then it'll be season time in no time, man. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and go Cowboys. Oh, And this is the last thing. Listen, Linda, listen. The draft is over, y'all. The draft is over. No matter if you wanted Drew Sanders or you wanted this player, hey, these guys now got the star on their helmet. I'm their biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? So I want Luke to be the next Travis Kelce. I'm pulling for all these guys because they are ultimately going to help us get to what we're trying to get, which is that 6th championship. So I know it's sometimes after the draft, you lick your wounds, you know what I'm saying? But now it's time to recover and get ready for the season, get behind our team, and let's rally because there's another team in our division. They beating on their chest like gorillas right now, but I can't wait to silence that up, man. So I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed.